Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 321. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, taking you on this extravagant journey into the world of nerd with my co-host, Charlie Carden.
Sunday. Isn't that how that song goes? Anyway, I'm having a great day. How's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic, and I think we're even doing even better because we've got a new secret friend joining us on this episode, and that is Mr. Alex Ignatiev. How are you, buddy?
Fantastic, Todd. How are you doing?
Good. Well, Charlie recommended you to come on the show. We were looking for someone that was familiar with Invincible, and you came on. You saw the bat signal raised, and you were joining us today. So you and Charlie go back. Your friends growing up, and he thought you'd be a great addition to the show. So we're glad to have you on. So with that, though, tell us how you became tell us your secret nerd origin.
Oddly, it was comic books, of course. And Robotech. Of course, many youths my age, Charlie's age, we're same generation, right? So one of those kid things we used to do is wake up early on a Sunday morning and watch Robotech on the I'm trying to remember which channel it was in Grand Rapids, but 6 in the morning. And I was reading comic books. I'd gotten into X-Men right around the time of the Marvel Mutant Massacre, so 1983, 84.
87, I think. What, Todd, wasn't that 87, 86, 87?
Around then, yeah.
Yeah, I
think I always get that and Extinction Agenda and all those mixed together, so.
Yeah, gotcha.
But, and I had a good friend of the family who he had been collecting comics with his sons for years, and he was also the priest at my parish. So, I had my parents were sort of anti-comic book, but the priest read comic books with his kids. So all of a sudden, I had access to all this geek cred and legitimacy, and I got to read early Avengers, early Batman, 60s, 70s stuff too. And, but I mean, he had some issues going back to the 40s when it came to Batman and Superman. And, so that's how I got my exposure, and it sort of went on from there. Of course, I did the Lego thing and, PC games, NES, all that jazz. And, mostly nowadays it's comic book culture and music and film.
Gotcha. Yeah, same here. Very similar. I didn't Robotech much, but yeah, I got gobbled up by Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel and stuff. So we just found something we loved that wasn't sports ball, and we just rolled with it.
Oh, I like sports ball, Charlie. Come on.
I know. Well, that's because you're just Well, we don't need.
Because I'm like 99% of the population. Come on, everybody likes sports.
Yeah, you know what? Why be the same when you were born to stand out, or some cliche like that shit? Whatever.
Enjoy it all. Sports ball or whatever. Yeah, good deal. Yeah, Robotech is really was in my wheelhouse. That was right in that whole Voltron. Just really that was my first introduction to animation as well. And I don't know if you heard, but basically they finally settled the rights for Robotech between the two companies, which is going to be fantastic because it's been horrible to get a lot of that material in different variations. So it's a cool story of how Robotech came to be, and then kind of how weird it, actually how we got it.
Oh yeah, and also the intersection with BattleTech, because I was a hardcore role playing game guy and also board gamer, and the fact that when BattleTech came out on the PC a couple of years ago with that sort of the original guys behind the war game, and they couldn't get certain of the historical mech designs in the digital arena because of the copyright and trademark disputes between Harmony Gold and West whatever. So
that is so crazy. The neck designs. It's such a thing that I've never heard of a dispute like that, but it's always something, right?
It is very weird, and that's why one of my favorite Transformers to this day is still the Jetfire Veritech, which is basically looks nothing at all like the cartoon or the Transformer, but they use that figure, basically the mold and everything, to bring him over. So some weird synergy in that world. So yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for being on, and we're going to get more into this stuff. We're not going to talk much Robotech. That's a little news with the rights, but we're going to actually talk about first, before we get into the news, we're going to talk about the cover that we're graced with this episode is Batman number 321. This is a great, I just think of Batman, the classic designs of classic 70s Batman with the yellow symbol, the belt, Joker, who just was wearing the cool suit, over the top, the big exaggerated face, and we've got a piece of cake. This is Happy Birthday, and Batman and Commissioner Gordon, everyone there is on the cake as candles in agony, and the Joker's just enjoying the fireworks.
Ouch. Who's in the way back there? I see the Commissioner Gordon.
Alfred.
Right. Oh, gotcha. Oh, poor Alfred. Yeah, so I love it. Who's the famous? Is that Denny O'Neil? Is that the famous artist?
The writer.
The writer.
Yeah.
Who's the artist? Who's the artist I'm thinking of?
Oh God, that would be. I mean, Batman 321. I mean, that's kind of getting close to, I think, Neil Adams territory.
Okay, gotcha. It's just that.
But I could be wrong.
The look of this just very much reminds me of the art from The Nail, which we just talked about.
Oh wow, I didn't realize this. Walt Simonson actually did the art on this.
Really?
This book. That's funny for him. 1980.
And the cover art, totally, yeah. Ooh, 1980. I guessed that by the cover price.
And Len Wein was the writer on this issue.
Oh, Len Wein.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, very, very big with Marvel as well. So good stuff. Cool. Well, that being said, where do our journeys lead us next?
Oh, Charlie, we knew. Well,
hoo-ha, hoo-ha.
And, well, yeah, I got to do this. Let me put a little note in here, 1405. Timestamp there for the geekies, or for the Madam Web. So, yeah, Charlie, we head over to our gal pal, our senior news correspondent. So, without further delay, Madam Web, take it away.
Now it's time for Madam Web's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Well, Madam Web, I heard you got some legal problems. Apparently, hitting people over the head to take their COVID vaccines so you can have a black market is not a good idea. So, Alex, if you're looking for a new client, Madam Web is hiring.
Oh, thanks, but it's a growth industry here in Hattiesburg. I've got all the crime I can handle right now.
Oh, man, I tell you, what a great problem to have. All the crime you can handle.
Yeah, are you more like a Harvey Birdman attorney at law?
Gosh, I hope I'm a little better than Harvey Birdman, but sometimes I'm not even as good as Harvey Birdman.
Oh, geez.
Well, maybe that's something the future, Charlie, we do. Like, we pick our famous genre lawyers. We've picked juries. We've picked Supreme Court justices, but maybe it's time to do our lawyers and judges in the future.
Your Harvey Dent and your Matt Murdock's kind of folk. Yeah, absolutely.
She-Hulk as well. Oh well, it's time to get into the news. And this week, Charlie, you got a First Contact Day, which is this
my
new
goodness,
for Star Trek?
You know what? It's funny. Just a couple of hours ago, I was on with Rich and Aaron over on our Code 47 Star Trek podcast. And it is new. The Star Trek Day, which is in September, which commemorates the launch of the original series back in 1966, it was also a huge day. And I think it might be a little bit more COVID culture that made it so. But there were these long panels with 5, 6, 7 people on Zoom recording and kind of unveiling all this news. And it's wonderful. But yeah, First Contact is within the context of Star Trek. In the film Star Trek First Contact, that was the date by which Picard and crew had to go into the past. They had to stop the Borg from making it so that humanity and the Vulcans had first contact on that day, thereby leading to, everything that followed. So with commemoration, with that, we got this crazy slew of news, which we broke down very succinctly on Code 47, and there's a good chance that you probably already listened to it because this show comes out on Friday, and that show comes out on Monday, so the day after today that we're recording it. But we got new trailers and updates for Star Trek Picard, which is filming now. It started filming a month or so ago. A rumor that Whoopi Goldberg will reprise her role as Guinan. Very strongly hinted in this teaser trailer that the character of Q will be returning for this series. I talked about this on the show. Kind of a head shaker for me. I'm not sure how that's going to fit into the tone of the show as I watched it, but they do have ways of making that happen. So I'm probably kind of worried over nothing. The other big piece was, and controversy, because there's always controversy, was their trailer for season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, which I believe they started recording kind of pre-COVID, which gave them a little bit of an advantage to getting more of it done. New uniforms that everybody's bitching about, because when you have a fandom and there's a change, you're going to have a percentage of that community that just can't handle it. So me, as always, I run a chapter of the Star Trek fan club. I'm a uniform guy. I'm a cosplayer. I'm excited about it, but I'm always excited about uniforms. So I'm probably a really bad example, but that certainly overshadowed any, big bad threat that was reflected in the trailer, which of course, it's one of these that we found this thing, we got to do something to stop it. Just very Star Trek. And then finally, the biggest piece of the news is that we did get a confirmation that Star Trek Lower Decks, the animated program, will be getting its second season starting on August 12. Yes. Got a very fun, irreverent trailer filled with, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then you see Tawny Newsom's character simply say, oh, we're missing his Boimler, and they cut to him, and he's there sitting at the helm of the Titan going, ah! And then, Captain Riker stands up behind him, and I went, ah, because Riker's my guy. So to have a date, this is the first date of a new season of Star Trek that we've gotten for 2021. So that's very exciting. Got a nice cast picture and a little more information about the animated Nickelodeon program, Star Trek Prodigy, which is going to have the return of Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway, but as a training hologram, which was kind of previously rumored. So this cast of alien characters takes over a derelict ship, which has a Captain Janeway hologram, which, Todd, immediately made me think of you and your love for Voyager.
Yes.
Oh, man, I know, stone cold. So anyway, there's certainly more that I could say, but again, hopefully you have heard our breakdown over on Code 47. But other than that, I'll let Todd and Alex put in their 2 cents.
Yeah, Alex, go ahead. I have some thoughts.
I was super excited by the news of Q and Picard, and I'm really thrilled about that. As for Disco's new uniforms, I can take them or leave them. I like to dress well, and any uniform that is pleasing to the figure and calming to the eye is probably a good thing. But for me at this point, after years and years of Jean-Luc Picard, my number one question is: can you perform the Picard maneuver in the uniform?
Or rather, do you need to? Is it self-uncurling?
I mean, if the technology exists, I'd like it for my suits, because sitting down for 8 hours in a courtroom and you stand up and you got this waist wrinkle, I'm not thrilled about that. But
I understand that you're right. Is that technology that can be solved by the 32nd century? Only time will tell.
Shirt stays. Those are always the answer. Speaking as a former military man, you got the garters, they pull down. Right. You're always looking tight and neat.
Everything is tight.
Yeah, my only complaint is there's been 85 uniforms in Discovery so far. So to me, it's just overkill, because then it's going to be 85 different versions. And to me, it's just I don't know, the new ones just look they look more like dress uniforms than they do actually duty uniforms in the military.
I can agree with that.
Because it's just like you say, Charlie, you've got the captain, you've got the Shatner uniforms, the maroon ones with the weird turtleneck thing. Those always seemed more like they were formal uniforms versus I'm actually doing duties, and they seem like they would get in your way. You want something a little bit more at the Navy. They don't wear their dress. They wear their fatigues, their duties so to me, it's just they don't seem very practical, which seem kind of silly. So I don't know. Seems like they would be fitting something more practical in that sense. But, it's Star Trek. It's not practical anyways. They're probably made out of space molecules that, stretch and resist stains. So probably makes sense. Oh, well. In regards to Picard, you talked about the tone, Charlie. I don't know if the show really has a tone yet, because the first season was all about, it was more facing death and everything, serious overtones. But now that that's been resolved to a sense, I think you can go and do different things. Do we want another season-long story arc, or do we want more interesting adventures and things like that? Obviously, they're showing some things like you're always on trial with Q. I don't know. I think it's fun. I mean, it's revisiting things. We got, Guinan coming back. I think they can play with some different themes and have some fun with it. So everything doesn't have to be dreary and for facing mortality in that show. So I'm curious. I hope it's good. And I hope they don't overpack it, meaning like they're gonna solve everything in the last episode, where everything before that it wasn't paced very well. It was just like taking our time. Then we don't have enough time to actually resolve it in a very a pacing that makes sense. So I'm hoping they fix that. Not in a rush, but I'm really surprised though. Discovery is they just wrapped up their season in 2021, and we're getting a new season in 2021.
Well, like I said, I think it was. Production was delayed. Production wasn't delayed by COVID, but release of it was delayed by COVID. So I feel like they filmed a lot, and I'm not exactly sure. I could be wrong about the rollout. My prediction that I talked about on our show was that this would be what would follow the 10-week run of Lower Decks starting in August. So, August 12 plus 10 weeks. So that would put us into, October, early November. And then that's really the way it was in 2020. They dropped Discovery on us. So I could be wrong, but they've not verified any dates of any kind besides the August 12 rollout of Lower Decks. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Picard was wrapped up before Discovery was, so to have Discovery come out again before Picard just seems, it is what it is. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that ends up. Yeah, we still don't know what that animated show on Nickelodeon is going to be like, the tone, how it's going to be. But obviously, it's going to be on Paramount Plus. And then Lower Decks, I never finished the first season. I thought it was fun.
Come on now,
that was fun and enjoyable. But to me, it was just like, it's animated Star Trek, it's not compelling. It's like watching Futurama or something.
Well,
like that.
To say animated Star Trek, the only barometer you had before that was the Filmation show from the 70s, and good lord.
It's just not. It's not Star Trek. It's more like I said, it's more like Futurama than it is Star Trek.
Well, sure, or Rick and Morty, because it's the same guy.
Exactly. So I'm like, to me, it's not like, oh my god, I'm so riveted. It's entertaining, but it's not like, oh my god, it's like, it's world changing. Yeah.
I guess riveted would definitely not be the way.
It's like getting excited for the next Family Guy. I mean, it's like it's fun. Yeah, and there's throwbacks. So yeah, to me, it's just a different level of. I watched like 4 episodes. I'm like, I could probably watch more. It wasn't like I had to watch more. So, but I get it. If you're a big Trek fan, this is going to be something you haven't got before. So, but it's entertaining. Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. So, rolling out so that's Star Trek. And again, for all of your in-depth, unbelievably granular Star Trek following, join us over on Code 47. We come out every Monday.
Yes. Yeah. So, a lot more there, folks. But in regards to the news that we got, something as well was this Hasbro Fan Fest.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
If I can have a quick sidebar, John Sear, who is our other founding secret friend, and my buddy Derek, who is a local figure collecting buddy of mine, lives right here in EGR, the same as I do, are really on top of this because, we're the three of us are big Star Wars collectors, and then I dabble in the G.I. Joe line and stuff, and we have a lot of fun lampooning the team that always says he pitches the one guy, Patrick. He's got the red hair and the beard, is just such a horrible pitch man. Watching these videos is just entertainment unto itself. Todd, I don't know how much of it you watch, but it was.
I didn't watch any of it because I didn't have to, and I didn't have to sit there for a half hour waiting to see one thing.
Let me just. Well, yeah, that was just the thing because any of the rollouts that I had were all. It was a 6-hour event, or maybe a 4-hour event, and the rollouts I wanted to see were 2 hours in. And then all I really had to do was keep my eye on the internet, and there was the information. So anyway.
Yes. So it was very interesting because it was covering all of Hasbro's properties. So you've got the Star Wars, you've got the Marvel, you've got Transformers, you've got Power Rangers, Fortnite. I don't know if I'm missing anything else.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, yeah. Yep. So it covered quite a bit. And I mean, we got everything from different lines of toys that I think everybody's interested in. But the one that really blew me away, was just totally unexpected, was this RoboSen Robotics Optimus Prime. This thing is not a figure. This is like a real robot rather than a toy because it transforms by itself. It lights up. It responds to voice command. It can do many, many different things, and it moves. I mean, this is far different than anything they've ever done before in this realm. It charges. It has a hard drive. You can apparently update it with different things. You can make it do dance moves. I mean, and it comes with an app you can control it by. So this is so far different than Charlie, you talked about HasLab and things like that. Those things are just big chunks of plastic typically. There's not a lot to like, oh my God, it's, doing anything crazy. This is insane. It's $700. So like I said, this is different though. This isn't a big hunk of plastic like the Unicron that took 80 hours to transform. This is actually a robot that transforms. I don't know if you can actually play with it in regards to the sense like you could transform it yourself, or if you're just reliant on it transforming itself, but it's badass. I mean, this is pretty much, something I never expected to see. I'm pretty impressed.
That's stupendous.
Yeah, that's pretty intense, but you're funding a robot. It's in your house. The next thing you're knowing, it's Chucky. It's the Cylons. I'm just saying, it's a little too far for me.
It's the best way to die, Charlie. Come on.
Is it really the best way to die? Oh, I bet I could think of something better than that. But
well, I mean, this would be the most dramatic way, and it'd be like he was killed by a transformer. Dun dun dun. And you have a show like Transformer Death Patrol, and you'd have to have a Transformer detective come out to find out what went wrong. I could see this show happening.
It's just like that one really good line from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original cartoon when the guy says, "Done in by modern conveniences."
It's not as Cowabunga or Pizza Dude would be less dramatic, I guess.
Pizza Dude. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then
dude's got 30 seconds.
Oh my goodness, yes. Or 30 seconds, your death is free. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Like the great suicide boots in Futurama, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a line for that one. Transformers will continue there, but basically, they're continuing on with their War for Cybertron. They have this new, the Netflix series where now they're getting into the Beast Wars era, calling this Kingdoms. So they've got all these characters coming out, and some of them look really, really cool, especially in their beast mode, things like that. But then they've got some oddballs that I've never seen before. This one called Wingfinger. It looks like a weird, pterodactyl made of bones. It's dumb, but I mean, I guess they got to throw new characters out there.
Todd, that's your niche. I know you like the weird, dumb little things. That's what's on your shelf. So you're right.
Not those dumb things. I want a real character, not one that's made up for it. So yeah.
You consider the transforming X-Men jet to be a real character?
It is now.
Oh,
yeah.
Todd. It's only
you.
So
we move on to Transformers. If you're into, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is into that. I think they've done a good job with bringing those characters up to date. But we get into something very odd. Well, maybe not very odd, but we've got the G.I. Joe line, Charlie, the black line or whatever, the black series.
No, it's the classified series.
Classified series. But now we're getting characters tied to the movie called G.I. Joe Origin Snake Eyes.
Solid pass for me.
Yeah, I mean, these are affordable figures. They're about $10 each. So, these aren't meant for collectors. These are really meant for, just kids buying toys.
Oh, are you talking about? They appeared to have the same packaging as the classified / Black Series Marvel Legends style. So is that what your reference is showing?
Or maybe they made a different one. Maybe I thought there was a line specifically just for the movie releases.
They did, but it's the same style. It's the same format as the ones that they've been releasing since for a little year now. So they're like basically, the Marvel Legends and the Black Series are 6-inch figures. They're $20 each. But yeah, these were all styled after what the character is going to look like in the movie, and it instantly took off with that Baroness figure that looks like she's a barista at Starbucks. Portlandia Baroness, which I sent to my friend Miranda, who's a Baroness cosplayer. She was not impressed.
I mean, it's nice to think that at some point the Baroness had a day job.
Yeah, instead of just being an international terrorist, you didn't think that she didn't clock in a few hours, slinging a double choca mocha latte yaya frappe at Starbucks.
I mean,
Yes.
it's not like as a teenager you can really international terrorist. It's really hard to travel when you're, going through puberty. Just saying.
When you go to terrorist school, you got to pay the bill somehow, right? I mean, you got student loans. I mean, come on.
Maybe she was work steady. There's a lot of nobility that's cash poor but title rich.
Right.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah. I mean, they don't look. I mean, the rest don't look too bad. Scarlet looks pretty good. Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, they all look pretty good. And then there's some characters I've never seen before, but they're based on movie characters, right? So they want them to look like the movie more so than the cartoon that was from the 1980s. So I think we probably have to be a little more realistic about some of these things, right? Like the MCU figures don't look like the comic book characters, like Fat Thor, which is next with the Marvel Legends line,
right? Yep. Yeah, that whole, I remember seeing that whole line there. It's a mix of Iron Man characters, which again, a lot of them are comic based, but for me, they're not my wheelhouse. But I do embrace how Marvel Legends does the deep cuts. Like you got Dark Star, and it's a Build-A-Figure line, and the Build-A-Figure is Ursa Major, which is the big bear from basically the Russian equivalent of the Avengers, which is what the hell's the name? I'm drawing a blank.
The October Guard.
No, that's G.I. Joe. No, it's so dumb because I read one not that long ago. It was
the Soviet super soldiers.
Yeah, that's it. The Soviet. No, you're exactly correct. So yeah,
but a bunch of words together, and that's what it is.
I think that's literally what it was. But yeah, it was. They do a lot of deep cuts, but again, they do a nice job of catering to the variety where the Star Wars Black Series has the ability to cater to. Here's a 14th version of Kylo Ren that nobody wanted the first one. So very unique ability.
It's the Winter Guard, Charlie. Sorry, I just looked it up.
The Winter. So yeah, it's a combination of the Winter Soldier and the October Guard. Winter Guard.
Yes. So, but the one thing that I thought was really cool was there's a Marvel Legends Doctor Strange Eye of Agamotto prop, which looks really cool. And it's only $50.
Yeah, that seems like, well, you're Doctor Strange adjacent, aren't you? I mean, you kind of like that.
I like him.
Yeah, that would be a cool one for you. But Todd, cosplay prop, so I know it's out for you. The cosplay is a no-no.
It's not really just a fun little thing you put on your shelf. It doesn't have to. I don't have to wear it around being cool.
I mean, but you can. That's the beauty of it.
Well, yeah, but this is just neat. I like this memorabilia. It's affordable and fun versus like $300, and it sits on a shelf. So very cool. It's very neat, and I think it's really going to be. I hope you can dismantle everything so you can have it look cool versus. It's a necklace. I don't want it to be a necklace. I want it to sit on my shelf. Oh well. And then lastly, Star Wars. Man, I tell you, look at the Star Wars Black Series, and I just like. Okay, it's more of the same things I've seen before, but it's not for me.
You know, I did pre-order 2 of them because I like the General Lando, and I think I have like an Empire Strikes Back Lando, and then because I have an Endor Luke, Han, and Leia, I thought, well, I'll toss Lando in there, and then I've got the gang. So I did, and then I did order the wrestler Mandalorian chick, Sasha What's-Her-Nuts. Because I have the Bo Karen figure, so they go together, and I have the Mandalorian figures. That's one shelf of my collection. So other than that, the other ones were like Aura Sang, and there was like another clone, and like some other something. I was just like, nah, I just didn't care. So yeah, it's very nichey, but at least they're making new characters. Where when they were doing the sequel trilogy, it was like, here's another Finn figure, here's another blah blah, here's another version of a Stormtrooper nobody wants to buy. So they've been doing better. I think the Black Series than they were. They had a real bad patch there. Bad patch.
All right, Alex, are you into any figures?
No, I've definitely fallen out of that. I started blowing figure money on guitars and stuff like that. So
nice. All right, rock it on out.
Yeah, I got a nice ukulele.
Nice.
Oh, and with that big beard of yours, that's kind of hipster gold. That's hot.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I got ladies. I got a dog named Lady. That's what I got.
Your biggest fan.
Lady, your biggest fan. Bark. Arr, arr, arr. There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Yeah, so there's lots of toys coming. Look out for those. I mean, if you're in the mood, that'll be time for Christmas for most of these, I think. So go start collecting now, and you will have no money to spare.
Very good. Well, moving right along, we have a classic that I know is very, very near and dear to the hearts of everyone on this podcast. Mystery Science 3000. Now, Alex, I'm sure you'll remember with the old guard here in EGR with, Lee Zavadil and Speedy and all the guys that loved MST3K, Joe Don Baker riffs and Night of the Lepus and all these. The great little show that, God, when did this start? Did this start in the late 80s, early 90s? And it was Joel Hodgson was the guy who kicked it off, and it was basically, it was lower than low rent. This guy who, ends up on a little plastic model spaceship. He gets stranded on the space station, and his penance, I'm trying to remember the plotline, his penance was to watch old movies along with two robot buddies, and it was just, the movie would show, and in the lower right-hand corner or somewhere in the middle, it would be it would be a silhouette of the three of them and sitting in a row of movies, and they're just heckling it.
Tom Servo,
and Crow, yep. And then that's all I ever do when I watch movies. I just did a watch party last night with some of my SFI buddies. We watched an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we're all on mute except for we pop in to heckle, and then we go on mute again. So it's a fun experience. Everybody enjoys doing it, but they brought this back, and I kick myself Kickstarter, that I did not watch the return of this because Patton Oswalt was a character, and I fucking worship the man. I love him. So I just anyway. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I could not honestly, aside from Patton Oswalt, get into the new one. I really had a lot of difficulty just because the movies that they were getting were, I guess, better quality than the garbage that they were doing initially. So they ate their own tail, so to speak. They kind of got away from the formula. Yeah, I think they made it a little too. It's really polished. It's good, but it doesn't have that sort of fast and loose. Here's the garbage movie of the week flavor. And Patton Oswalt is great in anything he does. I think probably the best thing, to my mind, he ever did was Constable Bob in Justified. Who it turns out to be like the one legit cop out of all these, law enforcement figures, just the most stand-up, local law enforcement officer on TV ever. And, he was good, but he was really the only part I liked about this new MST3K. So I'm hoping that this, because it's going to be all, their own platform, and they're trying to be independent so they don't have to rely on somebody deciding if they get made. Right. So trying to write their own ticket, which obviously, Kickstarters are enormous regardless these days, because I know that, and again, Todd, you'll appreciate that Star Trek Voyager for their 25th anniversary just set a world record for fundraising for a Kickstarter and they had tiers like, we raised so much and we'll do this thing, and if we raise so much, we'll do that thing. And it just absolutely shocked me, even as a diehard Star Trek fan, because Voyager is the show that just nobody talks about anymore, that there are that many people out there that wanted to get this thing made. So, this could be the same thing, or Alex, there could be people out there who think what you think, and they're like, the last one was crap, so how is a new one going to be any better? You just don't know.
Yeah, they're at $2.5 million currently pledged. That gets it gets 3 episodes basically funded. They have obviously stretch goals to even go further. If they get to 5.5 million, they'll do 12 episodes. So it's there. Potentially they'll do more things. They're showing the whole cast. Looks like the cast will remain the same. And obviously Joel is behind this, who created it. He's the one that's kickstarting this, so he's still the man behind it. But some things are great in concept, like, bring it back, it'll be great. But it's like, in a way, the people that you enjoyed it with are largely not there actually entertaining you any longer, right? You've got a lot of people are gone, it can have a different tone versus doing it kind of like pirate style. Apparently the new Netflix, the new show was on Netflix, so it's there to watch. The old stuff, though, is kind of hard to find, so it's kind of all over the place.
Doesn't really exist.
It's here and there. Most likely it's on physical media.
Yuck.
Yeah, he did something similar, which I don't know if you guys remember, called Riff Tracks, where they basically created the tracks and they couldn't pay for the movie, so you basically watched the movie and you played the riff tracks over top of it, and it was a weird way to do it, but obviously it was because of the cost and the rights of the film.
Is that like syncing Dark Side of the Moon to The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
started exactly at 00 and this and that. So the riff tracks, I've told you, Todd, you remember when we were at Wizard World Chicago 10 years ago, and I picked up my bootleg copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special before it obviously proliferated, and it's on YouTube as well. But mine has the riff tracks like optional side track, and I couldn't get April to watch this for yet. Like I couldn't get her to get all the way through it, and we watched it last Christmas and turned on the riff tracks. We were dying. It was the only thing that makes it watchable. It's a lot of fun. So that's nice. May there be many more said bootlegs out there that make things watchable if you have riff tracks.
Yeah. It's one of those things where hopefully, it's either charming and clever or it just gets really old very quick. So we shall see if that if they get more episodes. But yeah, more are coming. At least 3. Don't know where they'll be, or if you just pay for it and you watch it there, like online through the Kickstarter. Oh well. Moving on, we've got a new trailer for a new Netflix series based on a comic book. It's part of Mark Millar, who you may know him from a bunch of different medium that he put out. One was I'm blanking on other properties he's done. I believe he did. I'm just going to look him up really quick. Mark Millar.
Wanted.
He has this. Yes, Wanted, which was a great. I just enjoyed that series quite a bit. He has wrote a lot of things outside of his own things. He did Charlie most recently, Superman Red Son.
Gotcha. Okay.
He did that. Yeah, he's great. And really enjoy his stuff. He's a little controversial. Sometimes his stuff is over the top. But he wrote Jupiter's Legacy a while ago, and he's moved a lot of his he writes a lot of his books like they're going to be adapted for TV or the movie, so kind of like ready to go versus other things where they have to adapt them in a different way. So this is called Jupiter's Legacy and is the first generation of superheroes have kept the world safe for nearly a century. Now their children must live up to their legacy in an epic drama that spans decades and navigates the dynamics of family, power, and loyalty. So the trailer's out there, and I'm pretty impressed. Josh Duhamel's in this, a lot of other people you may know, Ben Daniels, Leslie Bibb. So I'm pretty impressed by this. What do you guys think?
I felt that for a property I was not interested in, all of a sudden watching the trailer, I kind of want to watch it. Although, yeah. I wonder if that itch for sort of a historical superhero epic was thoroughly scratched by the Watchmen series.
Yeah, I'm always the last to watch trailers, and I didn't have any context, but the look of it seemed absolutely fascinating. I also dig the concept. I wasn't crazy about the Watchmen because of the movie, but maybe I've heard the show is very different. Who shows that, by the way?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. Maybe I'll have to give it a shot. But yeah, this is great, and this is out in less than a month. Isn't this out early May?
Yeah, and I don't know how many episodes this will be. Typically, they're between 8 and 10 episodes. And yeah, this looks really interesting because it kind of opens with this group of people investigating a source of power that gives them special abilities, and they age slowly, like 90 years past, and now they have children that are basically they're basically passing along them to have their legacy to be the next round of superheroes, kind of like you think about Batman going to Robin, becoming Nightwing, things like that. So we haven't really seen that dynamic on screen in certain ways before. I can't remember if this is like an over the top, oh my god, it's gory, it's gross, like The Boys, or if it's a little bit more, a little bit more restrained. So
right.
I can't remember. I haven't read the book. I've got the trade paperback. I tend to read it before this comes out, so I've got about a month to finish that up, and it might even be on Comixology, Charlie.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we'll have to take a stab and see what comes of it when we invariably talk about this in a month from now.
Yeah, there we go. Although I looked at Josh Duhamel, I'm like, is that Jesus?
Josh, did Jesus?
Yes.
I mean,
there we go.
He hasn't aged in 15 years.
No.
But they put some great makeup on him.
I was going to say, and speaking of people who haven't aged, that's a nice little jump on the segue into our next story, which is about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, this was a movie that was a victim of COVID because we even saw a trailer and a release date for summer of last year, if I'm not mistaken. But the concept of it's somewhere in Middle America. There's a single mom with her two. She has a teenage son and a daughter who's slightly younger. And the adult woman's father has passed away, and they inherited his farm out in the middle of nowhere. And they're on hard times, so they're going to live there. And what they find out as they're digging through is that, and as we, the audience, find out while watching the trailer, that the deceased guy is Dr. Egon Spengler, one of the original Ghostbusters. All his Ghostbusters stuff is there, including the Ecto-1. And in the same small town, of which at the high school Paul Rudd is a teacher, which is why I mentioned him, someone else who's ageless, there starts to be wacky paranormal stuff happening. And so these kids have to become Ghostbusters, because why not? From the trailer, I thought it looked super cool. I love Paul Rudd. When the hell does he ever do something that sucks? I mean, I'm sure there's something, but I can't.
Dude, there's a list.
What does he do that sucks?
I mean, there are a bunch of terrible romantic comedies that nobody ever watched.
He's got a long list of movies you never saw. They were like straight to video.
That's why I don't know about him. But anyway, what the blurb in this article is about is that we have a new clip with Paul Rudd clearly in a grocery store with a tiny Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh my God in heaven!
7-Eleven.
The 7-Eleven. This is the Baby Yoda of 2021. This is terrific. Are we rolling on a date for this one? Do we actually have like a theater date?
A theater?
A theater? The movie theater, like a release date when this is going to be something?
I don't think so. I didn't see one on the trailer or anything like that.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it makes sense if this is dropping that we're going to see it this year at some point. But I mean, I was jazzed for this from the jump. So so I think McKenna Grace and Finn Wolfhard are the kids. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is great. Fun trailer, fun concept. I'm a sucker for cutesy shit because the wife likes it. And she likes it, I like it in a lot of cases. So I think this looks like fun.
Yeah, all of the original cast, excluding obviously Harold Ramis, rest in peace, and Rick Moranis will not be in this, but the rest are coming back. This does debut, Charlie, November 11th, 2021, which is just silly because, bring it into like the week before Halloween. It's spooky.
Right.
Right. Does that make any sense after November? Because now you're thinking about turkeys and Ghostbusters. I don't know, but yeah, I think it looks cute. I from what I'm seeing and from what Bill Murray's and everyone is saying, this really is the third movie in the series, which I am encouraged for because apparently, obviously 2 was met with disdain.
Right, and the 2016 reboot was similarly frowned upon. Yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping this makes it relevant again because the Ghostbusters is just, as the cartoon and everything, it's something where you can continue to have like more adventures in that series. It's not like it's done and we don't have ghosts again because
right.
Ghost Hunters and all that stuff. So I could see this being evergreen as long as it's done well and it's actually funny this time. Just be funny. That's all we ask.
Stupid TV, be more funny.
Yeah, stupid movies, be more funny. Yes, so Charlie, that is it for the news this week. Alex, we're going to go to our favorite geek establishment and get our nerd on, and that's the Geek Easy.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're setting the Geek Easy, and we're getting ready to get our nerd on. We've got our cocktails ready. Alex, anything you've been excited about in the world of nerd this week?
So I've got 2 things. One, briefly, the Octavia Spencer, Melissa McCarthy vehicle Thunder Force dropped on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I saw about that. I'm curious.
So I wanted to watch it because I felt that it also has Jason Bateman and Pom Klementieff in supporting roles. And they're phenomenal, but the Jason Bateman, Melissa McCarthy chemistry is undeniable. They're nice. Fantastic, everything they appear in. And so we wanted to watch it for that. And it turns out that Octavia Spencer is essentially the moving force like behind the plot of the movie. And the plot is basically like in the 80s, a bunch of people got superpowers, but all the people that got superpowers are like sociopaths. They have structural defects in their brain.
So it's like Boys.
Yeah. Well, and they all live in Chicago. So basically,
oh yuck.
It's a Chicago-centric movie And Octavia Spencer plays Melissa McCarthy's best friend, and she becomes a scientist to try to give ordinary people superpowers to fight the villains, because that's what her parents were doing when they got murdered by the villains.
Oh, good.
Oh, great.
So, super dark story, right? And then, like, Octavia Spencer basically gets pushed to the side, and it's a Melissa McCarthy fest. So it had a lot of physical comedy, a fun little political side plot, very conventional. Jason Bateman, great. He and Melissa McCarthy have this awesome, like, meet cute that is a total, like, 80s, like, it is a total 80s thing. So if you like 80s meet cute stuff, a la John Hughes.
Oh, awesome.
It has one good the rest of it's kind of garbage, but that was fun.
Oh, man.
So maybe 10 minutes out of the whole movie is good.
This
Well, I
sounds
mean,
like
the action's really nice, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
This sounds like something we ought to watch like tonight, because we were watching an 80s movie before I sat down here that I'd never seen before. It was Lucas with one of the Corys.
Oh, yeah.
I had never seen it. And April was flabbergasted that I'd never seen it.
I've never seen it.
I feel like I've seen every 80s movie, but this one and it is fucking adorable. I love it. And what sucks is that we had to jump on and do the show. We have 10 minutes left, so I gotta get that in today as well. So, but yeah, it was just weird things I missed, but we loved that it was April's birthday a week ago, and she wanted to just watch 80s movies, so we kind of slammed Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink and a bunch of them in a row. So this sounds great. I will watch this maybe even today.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's just kind of like Octavia Spencer gets pushed to the side, which is a shame because she's great. And then I've been reading this series of books. It's sort of a weird collection of 3 history books about the Holy Roman Empire. So that by itself is very, like, nerdy. But the guy who wrote it is an editor who works for a publisher of popular history books. And this is like, his sort of, I traveled through the former Holy Roman Empire, and here's all the weird stuff I found, like random tombs and like weird libraries, collections of bugs. And it's just the guy's very engaging as a writer. And I mean, he wrote 3 books. They're called Germania, Danubia, and Lotharingia. And like, you can pick them up, put them down, and they're basically like a travel log intermixed with history and his personal observations about, like, what's a good restaurant in Vienna. Oh. So a lot of fun to read, and I've been reading through those. But that's it's very geeky and accessible.
Oh, nice. Very cool. I love historical viewpoints, and not been in much of that part of the world, but I would love to see it in the future. I've got friends that just came back from Romania, so there's lots of different parts of that world that just look awesome. So very cool. Very cool. Well, Charlie, Falcon Winter Soldier number 4, very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, this show travels at a breakneck speed, but this episode at the very least gave us the culmination of something that came from the comics that I knew was coming, which was that John Walker, who is the new Captain America, who is unpowered, unlike in the comics, found his way to snag a serum, the super soldier serum, and to power himself up. And as we learned from Stanley Tucci back in the first Captain America movie, good becomes great, bad becomes worse. Well, Walker we've seen him in these 4 episodes so far, while he appears to be your regular kind of soldier boy, whatever it is, he's kind of an insecure dipshit. And his insecure dipshitness with the super soldier serum turned him into a violent psychopath, including murdering one of a suspect in the end of this episode. So we got 2 episodes left. So that really doesn't look so great for Falcon. At least, Bucky has the power to fight back, but then the question becomes, who is going to save the shield? Because it was, it was the same kind of situation that evolved in the comics. John Walker went psycho when he saw his parents murdered in front of him, and then every villain he faced in subsequent issues, he killed them. And then it was Steve Rogers had to finally take him down, and it was the reverse. Walker was powered and Steve Rogers was not, but was still able to defeat him, with skill. So let's hope that is the case, for Sam Wilson as well. But yeah, this is an edge of the seat one for me. This is we watched it first thing in the morning on every Friday, and only 2 weeks left, and then we get into this Marvel TV desert where we don't get another show until I think it is June when we finally get Loki, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's this show does feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but done better. It's not a movie. Right. It's definitely more straightforward. Although I don't buy the whole Falcon trying to talk the villain down. She's a murderer. She's just killed all these people. She's going to freaking jail, and she doesn't want to. So I just didn't get that part, right? That to me makes no sense. You're not going to talk her into just surrendering and then losing her ability to keep her cause alive. People just don't do that. So I thought that part was a little far-fetched, and obviously it was set up to push the envelope and make some of those things happen. And I am curious, though, because, John Walker, I mean, he's I just don't know many people in this place like, oh, you got to go out there. You have no superpowers. You got to take on these guys that are going to kill you, versus obviously Cap is like, I've got all this ability and I can do this because I've got – so I just felt like I never understood why they wanted somebody to be Captain America again. It just didn't make any sense. So
not if he doesn't bring the abilities to the table. If he's just some dude, if it's just some dude who's unarmed, even though he has a pop gun, and that's the thing that sets Walker off, is that his associate Battlestar, who was again powered in the comics, is killed in combat against one of these super soldiers. So how did they not see that coming? They set these guys up to take on enemies that are beyond their power class level, so they're going to get killed. So you're right, that did seem like a setup to fail, and it was kind of a too easy of a transition for Walker to snap. So we'll see what comes after.
Yeah, he says that one thing though. Oh, go ahead.
It sounds like a Thunderbolt Ross program special. You want to do something crazy and stupid? Get Thunderbolt Ross to do it for you.
Absolutely. Get some Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah, the Abomination or whatever it is. Yeah,
Turn yourself into Red Hulk.
Give these guys friggin' something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he even says one line. He's like, how could I, he's like, he basically it's taken down by the Dora Milaje, and he basically says they weren't even super soldiers. That's right there is telling you right there. He's like, crap, I can't do this without a boost. So there you go. Yeah. And then lastly for me, new shows on the CW. It's called Kung Fu. Well, if you remember, there was an old show called Kung Fu that was would not play well when you got a white dude playing an Asian person, basically in the Wild West. So that was kind of the concept of it. David Carradine was that character. Right. And it was a place and time, and they were going to remake this, and how are they going to do it? Well, they basically turned it on its head a little bit. We've got a female lead who was in China. She was facing a lot of pressures at home, so she decides to just kind of take a break and hangs out at a monastery in China. She trains for 3 years and basically then has to face her past. And I don't want to give too much away. But I would say this is very much like an Arrowverse CW type of show. It's straightforward, but it does add in a layer of like mysticism and things like that, special abilities. But it is well done. Martial arts are very well done, and my wife was just really excited about this, and she, after the first episode, she was like, yeah, I want to watch more, because you don't get to see many Asian primary casts on TV and doing things that are a little bit more interesting, and so I liked it. I think it's entertaining, and it's on the CW, so it's free to watch. So if you're looking for something different, and it's family friendly as well, check out Kung Fu on the CW.
So are you saying it's more family friendly than David Carradine trying to be Asian?
Or David Carradine doing anything, essentially, because he was not very family friendly.
I would say not. So very interesting. Well, yeah, like I said, I dabble in the CW. We've enjoyed Superman and Lois, but that's on hiatus right now. Maybe they put it on hiatus because they're running this.
Supergirl.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm way out of that. So yeah. Anyway.
Yes, so that is it for the Geek Easy, folks. Now it's time for us to take a trip to our favorite vacation destination.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. This week, it's another topic, and that is Invincible, Robert Kirkman's graphic novel series that I believe is now wrapped up with artist Cory Walker, has created this fantastic mix of basically girls, acne, homework, and supervillains. When you're a teenager, it pays to be Invincible. Mark Grayson is the hero Invincible, who is a Viltrumite human hybrid. Mark is one of the greatest heroes on Earth and is the son of Omni-Man. This is now a new Amazon Prime TV series. It's up to episode 5. Episode 6 will debut next week. I'm trying to remember how many episodes will be out. But the big synopsis is this is essentially Superman meets Spider-Man.
Well, it's fun. When you said that to me, you said meet Spider-Man, and I'm like, for some reason I took that as like, oh, he has the powers of both, but what you really mean is that he's like teenage Peter Parker.
Absolutely. Teen problems with Superman powers. But
he was a lot more like Peter Parker from the Ultimate Spider-Man, which was published in the early 2000s, as opposed to, Peter Parker, who is Midtown High's bookworm and Aunt May made of wheat cakes or stuff, and just very dated, where that felt obviously a lot more normal, that, Peter Parker has, a scruffy haircut and glasses, and he's a nerd who likes the internet, or, he was a web designer at the Daily Bugle, because that was it was the year 2000, so internet, it's calling somebody the World Wide Web or a web designer. I know, right? Doesn't it seem like it's not 21 years ago?
It was 5 years ago. Everything is 5 years ago.
It's like when you're driving with your dad in the car when you're a kid, and you ask how much longer is it, and he tells you 20 minutes, even if it's 4 hours away. Same thing. Everything was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So basically, we decided to, and I've read the Omnibus, I think, which was the first 25 issues previously, and I think I even read more than that because I really like the book. Charlie, and I think Charlie, you've only read the first volume, which is 4 issues.
Yes.
And Alex, how much have you read?
I mean, at one point I'd read it all, and I've gone back and I've refreshed it up through like issue 10 or 12, and I'm working through it right now on a Comixology free month. So.
Gotcha.
Good idea.
We swear by Comixology because I until recently, when I kind of gave up monthly comics altogether, I would get a lot of monthly comics that way. But even with the Marvel codes I got, I would apply them and then I would read them from Comixology. So, but I've got such a backlog with stuff I read for our basically 3 of our 4 podcasts that I'm on, which Star Wars, Star Trek, and then this. I got enough comics to read that I can get from Comixology Unlimited, the borrowing service. So, to me, the best value out there, and please send us your checks. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic deal. And once again, there's a lot of Invincible out there in Comixology. I think it goes up to volume 11, which would essentially get you about 50 issues, somewhere around there. So definitely you can continue to read this because, and I will say this, reading the comic, volume 1, it kind of has a weird pacing where if you're watching the TV show, you have to read a lot more. It's not just the first volume to even get to the things that they cover in this. Some things that are covered in this like episode 1 aren't even covered in the first trade paperback. So it's the pacing and the way they structure the story is different. But and we'll just start here. Basically, the comic translation after reading it, looking back, they did a fantastic job of really taking pieces directly from the comic and translating them into the animated series. The art style is very close to it. Some of the dialogue is very spot on. The shots they used, and I was really impressed. I mean, what did you guys think in regards to like taking a comic book and then putting it into an animated fashion?
Kind of frame by frame. I definitely saw some things in there that I thought kind of transitionally wise made for good storytelling. I'll probably go with the super unpopular opinion that the comic, at least that I read, I thought the art was absolutely terrible. I don't know. Did anybody else was that even a blip on anybody else's radar? I just thought it looked very blocky and scribbled. I don't know.
I liked it.
All right, that's fine. I guess that's just me then.
Well, no, you got to remember Cory Walker is the designer. He's there for the first, I don't know what year of the comic book. And then Ryan Otley pencils all the rest of it for the next 12 years before Cory Walker comes back. So clearly,
gotcha, okay.
A lot of people didn't like Cory Walker's artwork.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well,
okay,
it's like was it Charlie Adlard who did The Walking Dead? He was only there for like the first 5 issues, and then he left, and it became I forgot what the guy who replaced
Tony
him.
Moore.
Yeah, Tony Moore, and he's more, it's more synonymous with the book. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so this maybe Kirkman's just that horrible to work with. People are like, I can't do 6 months with this fucking guy. And
Well, he seems to get once he finds somebody that mates. He has a long partnership with them once they actually. So yeah. His art better.
Yeah, I would say that Kirkman is probably one of the more successful guys in the last 20 years, independent of the whole Marvel DC system, wouldn't you say? I mean, after the big renaissance of McFarlane and Liefeld and blah, 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 Kirkman seems to be the dude, I think, that has been really successful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's probably the most successful independent creator in a long, long time, because you typically are the big names are coming out of the DC and the Marvel. Invincible started Image, I believe The Walking Dead started at Image as well. So, and he's actually a founder. Well, he's one of the executive presidents or whatever of Image as well. So he's got a stake in that. He joined that team. But yeah, and he knows how to translate his books into TV because he's done it successfully with Walking Dead, and now obviously this is another way that he can take his stuff in animated fashion as well. So he knows how to translate his page to the screen. So that's great, right? I mean, it's amazing when you get that. They don't butcher the thing you put together. They've really brought it together. So we've got this. So what I would say is the first episode of the TV series, it's long. These episodes are longer than I expected. I thought they were going to be like 22 minutes long. Some are 45 minutes.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of random like that. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and there's a stinger at the end of every episode, so it doesn't really feel like it's a stinger, but it feels like it's weird how they're doing that because it's like the credits end, or the credits are starting to roll, and here's some more part of the episode. So it's an interesting take. I mean, obviously with MCU and things like that. And then the first episode, if you got bored with it first, I can see it's kind of slow moving, what's going to happen. The final end of the first episode, which I don't want to spoil it, but man, oh man, that tells you where the show is headed.
Whoa, big time. Yeah, it was shocking to see the least of and not really what I would expect. And yeah, I'm real curious to see where that goes. I wasn't certain exactly what the tilt is with Omni-Man, who is, I always love to point out, is voiced by J.K. Simmons, who is from my hometown of Grosse Pointe, Michigan. There we go. Famous Michigan people. I love it.
It again, without spoiling things too much, but it's one of those symptoms, Invincible, Walking Dead, I could point at popular fiction that was coming out at the time in the science fiction fantasy world, like Joe Abercrombie's first Law series, which my friend described as Lord of the Rings, but what if Gandalf was a dick? Invincible is your dad's Superman, but what if he's a dick?
That is, like I said, what if just like with the boys, what if the Justice League were all homicidal sociopaths and their dicks?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's been multiple takes on that. I mean, which has kind of been interesting. I think it was Mark Waid. He did, God, what was the name of the book? Where it was basically the Superman character became just a despot and he was horrible. I mean, it's
Injustice. No, that's the game. But there's something like that. It was the next project he did after Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was an excellent series. But yeah, it was once again just the ultimate power corrupts. Oh, Incorruptible.
There we go.
That's the series. I kind of got there.
Ultimate power is incorruptible.
Yes, exactly. So, but the voice cast on the series, to your point, Charlie.
My God.
It is. Walton Goggins is kind of the man behind the scenes, pulling the strings. You've got Seth Rogen as the weird alien who you meet. I mean, it's Sim Young from The Walking Dead. Obviously, he knows the guy. Zazie Beetz is a love interest. Right. And what's his name? I always forget his name. Jason Metsopoulos.
Yeah, is
Pimento.
Rexplode, yes.
Rexplode, And he's just a general dickwad. Is duplicate. He's showering with the three of them. Sorry, is that a spoiler? Oh my god. Hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler. Sorry. But my favorite was your big bad at the end of season 5 or episode 5. The big, feral lion creature was Michael Dorn. Worf.
Yes.
It was so perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the theme of Invincible, though. In the comic book, it's kind of like a giant, 144 issues of fan service, but not like to a particular series or something. It's just, Kirkman packs it in with, homages to Star Trek characters and DC Comics characters, Marvel Comics characters. He's even got a guy in there who's, there's a supervillain, sort of, who is effectively, from Superman 2, the Zod's female sidekick. What's her name?
Ursa.
Yeah.
Ursa, I think.
There's an Ursa analog in Invincible, and she's from Omni-Man's home planet, and just like he's got all this stuff in there, and it's popping up in the series too. They bring in Damien Darkblood a lot sooner in the story than they do in the
comic, yeah.
In the comic, and of course he's Rorschach, but he's also Etrigan
Detective Hellboy.
And Hellboy. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just like, it's great because it's like Kirkman sat down at this giant, nerd buffet and put one of everything on this giant plate and turned it into a really cool comic book.
Right. Yeah, the dude's got skills. I mean, I enjoyed the Walking Dead comic. I know Todd and I both kind of fell off of it at a certain point. And the show
100 for me.
Yeah, and then I watched the show, and April is vastly more interested in it than I am, so we do still kind of plug along, but they got so far away from what I enjoyed about the comic, which again, I stopped reading the comic when I stopped enjoying it, but I did tune back in for the last couple issues of The Walking Dead, and I really did enjoy that last arc, which I caught the end of it, and then the standalone final issue where they did a jump forward, and it was about Carl in the future. And on the show, you don't even have Rick or Carl or really almost any of the other characters. So, yeah, very, very disparate and different, which it sounds like this series versus what was adapted from definitely did take some different liberties and turns.
Yeah, it's definitely the pacing and the way they bring things in differently. Like the end of episode 1, you don't get that in the comics until much later. I think it was like episode issue 10 or 12 or something like that. So the way they're doing it, they've changed some things up. The characters. I do like the fact that in the Image comic book, you've got like Savage Dragon. They're part of the Image universe of those heroes. They're not in here. Maybe they don't have the rights, whatever. But I think they've played with tropes of characters from like a Batman analog. You've got all these different analogs that are similar to characters you've seen before, which makes it very entertaining. Then you have different storylines as we get through this, which take the story in different places than you see in the comic book in certain times. So they may get to it in the comic book later, or the same thing, they maybe get to the part in the comic book at a different point. So I do like how they touch upon the different storylines of the comic, put them in here in a way that works better probably for TV than it does in the comic book. So I like it. Like the Mahershala Ali.
That guy.
Yeah, he plays a character that you first don't think is going to have any play in the show, and then you find out he kind of does, which I liked. I liked that tweak. It was very cool. And you do, this is over the top show. Basically, you don't know who's going to live, who's going to die. And I've really enjoyed this a lot. So I'm looking forward to more. I don't know how many episodes, like I said, I don't know how many episodes this is going to be, but I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, it's exciting. I do think one thing that they've done already is they fixed a major narrative weakness from the comic book with the Damien Darkblood Cecil Stedman storyline, and they brought all that information up to the audience, and it made both Cecil Stedman and Damien Darkblood into stronger characters. And if you watch it, like if you read the comic book, they're kind of almost buffoonish because they got a short event horizon. But now, Cecil's sort of playing a long game. He's almost like Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting to see a character who, Kirkman's like, yeah, I didn't do a good job with that. Now they're really doing a good job with it.
That's a good take. Yeah, sometimes you get a chance to tweak something you didn't think you liked how it played out because it's already out there. It's going to be 8 episodes, so we've got 3 more. I'm glad we're getting these things. I know people said, if you're tired of Marvel and DC, I'm glad to see we're getting stuff that's not in that wheelhouse on different networks and things like that. So Netflix has things, Amazon Prime has things, Hulu. We really have unlimited choice, and I'm glad to see more of these things available. Back in the old days of like three TV stations, we would have never gotten this show on NBC, ABC, or Fox.
Right.
No
yeah.
doubt.
It is. Yeah. Even in the beginnings of HBO or something like that, it just was not done. What was the first big adult animated thing you can think of, like Heavy Metal in the 80s, which I've never seen.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm certainly familiar with it. But yeah, now it is just very commonplace to tell stories in this fashion and not have it be like, I don't want my kids to watch it because, people know, with the exception of, the mom that takes her 6-year-old to see Deadpool, most people know better. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, and let's not forget that they tried to do Invincible once before as a motion comic on MTV2, and it was a terrible disaster.
Yeah, motion comics. Yeah, that's a trend that never. It's right up there with Pogs for things that just never played out. Oh well. Well, that is it for Invincible, folks. Check it out. Enjoy. Read the comic. Watch the show. They're a little bit different, but both good. So I think if you don't like one, maybe you like the other one better, or maybe you like both. So check it out. 3 more episodes remain, but lots of issues on Comixology exist if you want to read the whole arc.
Yes, and which I certainly might. But that really does it for our show. Alex, are you out there in the social media sphere that people should find you, or people should just stay the hell away?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm employed by the county, so I'm a public figure. I'm on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Insta, whatever.
Gotcha. But still, basically keeping it lowish profile. You're not like Oxford and I, outlaws out doing crazy stuff.
No, the craziest stuff I do is sometimes I go to bed after 10.
What the hell? Oh my God, you're out of here. We're not dealing with anything crazy shit like that. Well, cool, man. It's awesome to have you join us. And again, Alex and I have not seen each other in many years, but we've known each other for 30 years, which is over 30 years, which is totally insane. But I live up here and he lives down there. So the beauty of social media is that it is easy to connect with everyone, and with podcasts, we can talk to each other as well. So anyway, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. We are a part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network encompassing of this wonderful program, which we've been doing since 2014, where we talk about geek culture a la carte. That's Todd and myself. Co-op mode is done by Todd and our shared cosplay wife, Mark Carabin, the Canardian. They talk about video games every other week. On a weekly basis, on a Monday, I have a show called Code 47. We talk about Star Trek. That is with partners Rich and Aaron. And then Mark and I team up for the Holocron Chronicles, talking about Star Wars, both doing a canon update and a topic every other week. So we are coming at your ear holes every week, multiple times. And we would love your support. Please visit us on the podcasting service of your choice. And our episodes are also mirrored on YouTube. Please like, rate, and share us on those services. Definitely does help increase the visibility of our program. We're over on Twitter at Secret Friends U. Drop us a line. Let us know something that you're enjoying, a question for us, a thought about the show, a review, and we will gladly talk about it on air. Finally, to plug the monetary aspect of it, we do have a merchandise store over on TeePublic. Shirts, hoodies. Rich and I were bitching about the fact that they don't make hats. I would love it if they made hats, but what are you going to do? You can't have everything. They make masks, stickers, wall art, blah, blah, blah. Lots of great fun stuff. Proceeds of that do actually financially benefit the show and some of the things that we are planning to do, and just basically kind of keeping us going. And they do have, at the time you listen to this when it comes out later this week, they do have a sale going on March 14, 15, and 16, up to 35% off. So please feel free to tune in. There at that website, there are logoed merchandise for all of our Secret Friend shows. So we will look forward to having you sharing the love and supporting us out there. So That being said, thank you again one time for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Transform and roll out.
In the not too distant future, next Sunday AD, there was a guy named Joel, not too different from you or me. He worked at Gizmonic Institute, just another face in a red jumpsuit. He did a good job cleaning up the place, but his bosses didn't like him, so they shot him into space. We'll send the cheesy movies, the worst we can find. You'll have to sit and watch them all, then we'll monitor his mind. Now keep in mind, Joe can't control where the movies begin or end, because he used those special parts to make his robot friends. Robot, roll call, Cabot. Gypsy, hi girl, Tom Servo, You're wondering how he eats and breathes and other science facts. Then repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really tweet.